Okay. Well, guys, thanks for tuning into our special guest interview this episode. We have Mika Stein on the show. Mika is an incredibly handsome comedian and writer based out of New York City. He's a stand up, I don't even know how to say this, savant?
Savant.
Savant. I'm illiterate. Please work with me. Sketch comedy powerhouse and a flawless singing voice in the shower. He has it all. Beginning his career working at places like The Daily Show and Jesus and Marrow, you can now find him making white people uncomfortable at comedy clubs or dive bars across the 5 boroughs. Okay, mostly Brooklyn. But follow him at Mika underscore, is it Moshe?
Mocha.
Mocha. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be Mocha. Okay, follow him at Mika underscore Mocha on Instagram for more. Well, Mika, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, psyched to be here. Happy to be perceived.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry I butchered your bio. As you can tell, I'm like a little slow sometimes. But I actually got you recommended from Adam Gold, the homie comedy buddy of mine, and he was saying that you need to have this guy on your show. He could really relate to the podcast. I was like, okay, let me find a way to bring him on the show, and here we are. So shout out to Adam for
Yes,
introducing us.
I'm happy. Adam Gold finds me sufficiently black. I think that's super exciting.
Yeah, shout out Adam.
That was clever. That was clever. I liked it. That was clever. That was good stuff.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Mika, is there anything else you want to do to like introduce yourself, or are you good with me butchering your bio?
I mean, look, I'm honestly just a young, sexy person in New York City. I'm a comedian, but I'm also a preschool teacher. So I would rather be a comedian than a preschool teacher, but one of those pays the
Wait,
bills.
seriously? You're a preschool teacher?
Yeah, but I just started it this year. It's a new job. It keeps me on my toes for sure.
I love it. I feel like being a preschool teacher is like intense. You're just like, yeah, just a new job. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, there's like it's a team effort, you know. It's not like I'm the only one in the class, but it is like a Jewish day school, and I grew up in Jewish day school. You know, if that's a good segue, I don't know what's up, but I work in a Jewish day school. And it's just a trip because it's like bilingual. Like, you know, they're speaking. I'd say they probably speak more Hebrew than English, just because they're like 4 and their teachers are like Israeli and like don't care to try as much to speak the English. So that's definitely been a trip, like remembering a language that I definitely knew before, but haven't spoken in a while.
okay, so let's get that segue. Can you tell the people, because they can't see you unless they're on YouTube,
Yes.
what you are? What are you mixed with?
Yes. So I'm a black Jew. I'm black and Jewish. I don't know. It was interesting when you said, you know, this episode was about mixed identity, because I don't really see myself as mixed, but the rest of the world does. You know what I mean? Like I'm a fixed thing. I've been the same thing my whole life, but other people would like to pick and choose what I am. And
So
that's
what do you
definitely
identify as? Like, would you, if someone asked, like, what are you, like, not
I,
giving, like, the actual definition, would you just be like, I'm a black man?
I mean, I say I'm black and Jewish, but like those aren't mutually exclusive things. You know what I mean? Like I could have 2 black parents and still be just as Jewish as I am, but I just happen to be incredibly Jewish. So it's hard for people to kind of check me on my Jewish identity. Um, and then I also grew up with a giant afro, so I wasn't really challenged on my black identity until I lost all my hair and started being perceived as a different race. So going bald was actually the biggest like shift for me because I grew up a black teenager and then suddenly was like a Dominican man maybe, you know?
Oh my God.
And also
That's,
I'm from Dallas, so it's like I grew up in Texas where shit's really segregated. So it's just like every room you walk in is a brown paper bag test. Like, oh, you're the blackest one here. You're black, you know. And so I never really felt 2 separate things until like you get to New York, and then suddenly like no one even cares what you are. It's like, it's not even an interesting topic of conversation. It's not even a fun party starter for me anymore, you know?
And I do want to know, I know we kind of touched on this before, but as someone who grew up with your Jewish side, it seems like, um, do you kind of relate when mixed people say that they identify themselves as being mixed and not specifically black or white?
No, because it's like we're
Okay.
not South Africa, you know, like in South
Yeah.
Africa, that's their own caste, their own experience. And honestly, that sounds hard in and of itself. It's like so I came to New York to go to NYU. It's like when I went to NYU, like instant camaraderie with every other black kid in the class for the most part, because we were all relating to the experience of being in a PWI. And being somebody that grew up in a PWI, you know, my whole life, I was very outspoken in class and happy to say things that maybe other kids wouldn't want to say to make things hot. But, you know, I also look how I look and get away with a lot of stuff because of that. And that's something I learned at an early age, you know, like I'm black, but I'm
Hmm.
not like get shot by the police black. I've like interacted with them enough to know that, you know?
Yeah. And I think just to touch really quickly for our audience, we really wanted to do this show today because I think me, Kia, and Amari recognize that we have a bit of a blind spot when it comes to talking about mixed identity. It's a very nuanced topic. And although we are three black women who grew up surrounded by white people and can somewhat understand that experience, we'll never 100% understand that experience because none of us are mixed. So we kind of wanted to have someone come on to talk about that experience and how interesting, in depth, and nuanced it is of, you know, understanding blackness, understanding whiteness, if that's your experience, and just like living through that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd say another thing that's kind of, I guess, unique to me, whatever, is I'm an only child. So I didn't really have anybody else like experiencing these things with me. So I do feel like, for better or worse, most of my black identity that was imprinted on me, besides, you know, family, friends, and people I knew, was from media, you know, was from TV. And it's like I would see certain black kids and be like, oh, okay, I'm smart guy from Disney Channel plus, you know, Wade from Kim Possible. Like, okay, I'm the smart black kid in the chair. Like, that makes sense to who I see myself as. But then, you know, you start to learn some unsavory things about how, you know, the rest of the people around you kind of see the black community. And, you know, I think people internalize that in different ways because it's like, you know, people are famous and then you're like, what? Like, they were mixed the whole time? Like, Pete Wentz is black? And it's like, you know,
Yo,
Wait,
Pete Wentz
I
is
didn't know that.
black.
What?
yeah, yeah.
Yes, I was huge into Fall Out Boy growing up, and my brother sent me a TikTok saying, like, I think Pete Wentz is like Jamaican
That's what I'm saying. It's
or
like Pete
something like
Wentz
that.
is as black as Bob Marley. You know what I mean? Like Bob Marley's
Yeah.
mixed, but like you don't think that about Bob Marley because he dedicated his life to uplifting black people. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
we have a choice. Like if you're mixed, like you have a choice. And like if you want to like if you want to be on the other side, like that's up to you. That's I think it's lame, but like
Do you have to? Okay, wait. So you said a lot here. I'm trying to dissect it all.
He said, I think that's lame.
I'm trying to
but
dissect it
it's
all.
up to
Okay, so
you.
one, I do. So basically, to confirm, your mom is the Jewish side and your dad is the black side.
yes, my mom, white Jew named Deborah Stein. Um, my dad, his name's Arungu Bakari, but that's the name he chose for himself when he converted to Rastafarianism in prison. His birth name is Robert Bomar. And I say that because there are a lot of Bomars all across the South. And that's a family that was a lot of, you know, senators and doctors and rich white people that, you know,
Colonization, slavery.
exactly. So I can't trace, you know, the black side of my family back that far. And that's only something I've ever been concerned with because, like, people that can love to do that. You know, Jews
Yep.
love to like say how far their family goes and like
Yeah.
brag about who suffered what. And it's like, I don't gotta brag, you know?
I would
Oh my God.
love to be able, just like side note, I would love to be able to like trace back my lineage, like my mom, we did African ancestry and she's like obsessed with it. And we found out what tribe we're from, which is the Bamaliki people. So my mom's like, I'm a proud Bamaliki girl. Like, but still, we don't know so much. Like, all we could do is our tribe. And even that isn't
And I don't even think a lot
100%.
of
You know
people
what I mean?
even can do that. I mean, I don't, and you, if you do, you have to pay for it, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I did
Yeah.
Ancestry.com. It obviously told me like 45% Nigerian, but it's like, I don't know. And then they change it all the time, and then you're just like, all I can do is track like basically like the slave owner name, like it's a Scottish name, and that's all I know.
Wait, Kia, what percentage black are you?
Oh, I'm 75 over. No, wait, I'm 85. 85%.
You
I
lie, you light skinned hoe. You are not
I am
85.
85. I have the ancestry DNA test.
You
I'm only
a
50%
lying
European.
ass
Damn,
And
I'm only 41%. I hate to break it down. Yeah.
yeah, I like to say that though because as you can tell, I'm light skinned, but I'm not mixed. But everyone thinks like, especially in the winter, like, oh, you must be mixed. And I think the mixed identity is really interesting because people just automatically assume like, oh, she's mixed. Like it's just crazy to them that I could be like this light and both my parents are black. And you can't see my hair now, but it's like pretty like the most coarse hair you can probably get. So to me, I just thought it was wild that people were like, no, it just does not make sense that this girl is not mixed.
See, but I will say, as someone that again grew up around a bunch of white Jews, I wouldn't have thought that until I got to college and learned otherwise. I would 100% be like, dude, she obviously has a white mom, you know, like,
Thank
and
God I
that by the way,
don't.
and that by the way is an insult. That by the way is when you like, if you get into colorist TikTok, it is like, you know, white mom kids
Okay,
are
we
like
wanted to
this,
talk about
black
this.
mom kids are like this, and they're right.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah,
part that hurts
yeah.
the most. Is they're right. Like you just got to take it.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, he's saying
So,
it right.
what has your experience been with that? What is it like going on the internet and seeing people? Because to paint my own picture from what I understand and see, you go on TikTok and you see people saying having a white mother and a black father is one experience, and then having a black mother and a white father is a whole nother experience. I even saw this girl who was like crying on TikTok saying that she had to disown her white mom because her white mom her entire life has been incredibly racist towards black people and sees her black daughter more so as a extension of her and not as a black woman. So like what is it like going on TikTok and seeing people talk about these issues? Are they real? Are they
I
false?
mean,
How does it hit you as someone with a white
I think
mama?
it's awesome and it's cool. I think like the younger generation, they're really being honest about their experience. And like if I had that, I probably would have felt less alone in my experience. Because these kids like bear it all with their trauma. They really do not hide any of their family secrets. And I love that for them. But I haven't had to deal with like racist family members like that. My whole white experience is white liberals. So it's racism, but it's like them thinking they're doing the right thing, which is a worse different thing. It's like I'm getting invited to more dinners because they want to welcome a black person. I'm not getting invited to less, you know? And that's complicated for sure.
Okay, so as someone who has a white mom, what are your thoughts on like the people who? Because I've heard some crazy shit about people with like on TikTok or anything, when they're like, I've heard like, yo, if you got a white mama, you can't say the N word. If you have a black mom, you can, and it's just like so interesting.
I
The
mean,
rules.
like that right there, like that seems so. I don't want it to be true, but it is. You know, like when I'm alone, if I was alone, I'd say nigga all day. Like I don't have a problem saying it, but it's how people perceive me saying it. And like it's so interesting because okay, this isn't a mixed person, but Donald Glover like talked about this in his stand up back when he was wearing like Vampire Weekend-esque tight shirts and shit. And he was like, I can't say nigga. It sounds weird coming out of my mouth. And then like he finally gets respected for the work he's making and starts rapping. It's like rap is what brings it out. And it's like, yeah, dude, when I rap, you think I'm not fucking singing every single word? I can, you know? I want to. I feel it in my heart. It's hard, you know? Like when I'm watching horror movies, like that's my response when I'm scared, you know?
You're just like,
I can't watch
nigga.
horror movies with my white friends, you know? I like
So, but wait a minute. As someone who grew up with a lot of white friends, I always invoke the rule of I can say that shit, but y'all can't. I can say that in front of your face all day today and tomorrow. So, did you ever feel the power to invoke that
I
rule?
will say it might be like a male socialization thing, but it's like
Hmm.
that's a funny word that people want to say. And if I'm saying it around them, they're going to think they're entitled. It's some give a mouse a cookie shit. Like, it's like you can't let
I
it slip
see.
around them at all. They can't get the idea. It's like when the song comes on, when the Drake song comes on and it's about to hit that part, you're looking them dead in the eyes to be like, I bet you
Do
won't.
it.
You
Do
know?
it.
I see.
Yeah, I
I
text my
see.
white friends nigga all the time. Like, this nigga's wild, and I feel like they just know me, so they're just like, obviously, they're not gonna be like, yeah, that
Yeah.
nigga is. They're just gonna be like, lol.
I do understand that though, because I will say that when I was younger, that was a harder thing for me to navigate. Like when you're a teen and you're very worried about your friends' approval, it's like such a difficult thing to be like, no, you can't say that word when you're just worried about being liked. And I also feel like as we've gotten older, social conscious has changed. And now white people are more aware of those things. So it's easier to be like, nigga, nigga, nigga,
Yeah.
nigga, nigga. And your white friends are just like,
I mean, my thing
mm-hmm.
is like I honestly see myself as a civil rights icon because I was born in the '90s, right? So I'm part of the first generation.
He called
I
himself an
am because
icon.
I'm
I
part of the
love
first
it.
generation to get called the N word on Xbox Live and AIM. Like I experience all that casual, malicious racism with people knowing or not knowing who was on the other end. And it's like in third grade, my friend called me nigger on fucking AIM, and I just didn't talk to her for 4 years. Like
Hey
Yeah.
man, you should have never talked to
I
that
didn't know
bitch
what to
ass
Why are
do.
nigga.
y'all saying that in third grade? I didn't even say that shit in third grade. That's weird. Like, white people are weird. But did you say the N word around black people? Like, how do you feel about saying it around black people? Do you think they're gonna be like, that nigga a little white? Like, what do you, what do you, I'm just saying because it's like, you hear like Drake and it's like Drake is next with his baby is like, what, 25% black? And he has cornrows and stuff. But if we didn't know that was Drake's baby, we'd just be like, why does this white baby have cornrows?
That baby gonna be
He
saying the N
is, he
word.
is, and
That
it's
baby gonna be
okay.
Malibu's
It's
most
Yeah,
okay
wanted.
because it's
Okay.
that's
Drake
how
though.
And I'm gonna accept every
that's
drop.
But that's
underrated.
I'm gonna
because we
accept it
know
all.
Drake. If we saw Drake's kid without the Drake attachment, we'd be like, "Yo, why is this pale ass boy saying the N word?" Like he would get
You're
rocked.
right.
Let's like. So
See, but
how does that feel?
You're
I
right.
don't know that Drake's son's allowed to say it. We have to see what kind of
Okay.
world this kind of world he grows up into.
You're right.
Cause I don't know. Like I feel like Cory Booker could say it technically, right? But would you want to hear him say it?
Wait, is he mixed?
No, it doesn't matter. I'm just
Oh.
saying, like, it's all about how you're
Oh,
perceived.
you would
It
you would
is
just be like
like,
it's a little weird to hear it from this person.
yeah. I mean, because my thing, honestly, like as a comedian, I have jokes whatever with it, and like it's worked better for me in all black rooms than there's rooms where white people because then the black people are like, damn, you're really saying this in front of them, dog, really?
Mm.
Like you can definitely feel the energy in the room, but it's
Wait,
like,
you're saying that the black people are looking at you like, why are you saying the N word in front of a bunch of white people?
yeah, I mean, that's kind of the vibe. It's not like anyone says
Okay,
that out loud, but it's like
but
I've
it's like the
actually had a safer experience vibe wise in all black rooms. And it's like, fine, let whatever fly. Like,
that's
be
interesting because I
funky.
feel like white people love like Dave Chappelle or like when he's always saying the N word or
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
they
That's
know he's
interesting.
allowed to say it. They're not sure if I'm allowed to say it.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
I completely back this because you spoke about Childish Gambino before, and Childish Gambino has definitely always struck me as one of those black guys. And very early in Childish Gambino years, if you don't know him, if you don't pay attention to him, and you just feel like he's one of those black guys, and then you see him performing and it's a room full of white people, because his fan base early on was a lot of white people and still is kind of white people, and he says the N-word, or even Lizzo at points in her career, it feels like you're putting on a black performance.
I have a question though.
So
is that their fault? Because I feel like
it's not. It's black people's perception of a black person that's not black enough, which is not a good
I just
thing.
feel like that's rough. And as someone who works in talent, I would always see like the white people, like the executives making these decisions, they only know like a handful of blacks, and they always pick these handful of blacks to be on every project. And that's when I step in and I'm like, there are other black people, there are other black comedians. But I just feel like if the white people love you and they're like, you know, saturating your like art and your stands, is that your fault? Like, I'm not gonna, because I feel like we could do that with anyone. Like Kanye West, how many fucking white people love Kanye West? More white people than black people now, and no one gives that.
Same thing with
all of them, but it's only like to certain people. Like it's only like Lizzo's a sellout. Lizzo has the same fucking demographic as Kanye West, I promise you, or more black probably. But I just feel like, I don't know, it's like a weird thing to think about, I guess. I never really thought about it in terms of like stand up or like watching stand up with white people.
Yeah, I mean, I am somebody that I feel like growing up, I never code switched. I was the same. I sounded maybe a little too black around white people and way too white around black people. For some reason, I started saying like hella a lot and dank when I started smoking weed. So like, you know, just funky stuff became part of my vocabulary. And I never really saw myself as like having to change in a business setting, because I'm like, I know you like this. I know you like that I'm not in the box, but I still make you comfortable. So I'm gonna rock with that. And I think like that's definitely what I enjoy about comedy, is like white people are comfortable with me until a certain point, like until I say a thing that they're not really ready for. And like, you know, with comedians, like, yeah, like someone like Chappelle, like a lot of white dudes are like, I'm rallying for him, but it's not like about his race anymore. You know what I mean? It's like they don't even care about his perspective on the black community necessarily, nor are they like coming to the comedy for that.
Thanks, Mika, for joining us. Do you want to plug anything? You want to let the people know where you at? What's good?
Let the people know I run a show called Mr. Softy's Comedy Banger out in Brooklyn. Follow me on @Mika Mocha for more info on that.
Okay, thanks, Mika.